A lot of this isn't going to make sense to you, and I'm sorry about that. I'm just gonna start at the beginning.
Kann man hier irgendwie ein bisschen was... Das ist Englisch. Okay.
With the house. I lived here until I was 11, but I wasn't allowed inside half the rooms. Inside the mailbox were bills from 7 years ago, marked urgent, open immediately. I hadn't been back since my brother Lewis's funeral. In her will, my mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked. Maybe she thought I'd know. Or she thought the mystery would be enough to bring me back.
Ja.
The truth is, even after I inherited the house, I never thought I'd come back to it. But now I had questions about my family that only the house knew the answers to. The woods around the house have always been uncomfortably silent. As if they're about to say something, but never do.
Okay, bis jetzt ist das Spiel nicht ganz cool. Oder kann man das einstellen, dass man hier vielleicht ein bisschen schneller machen kann? Man kann hier wirklich rein gar nichts einstellen. Ist absolut hier blöd.
The house was exactly like I remembered it, the way I'd been dreaming about it. As a child, the house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words. Now, as a 17-year-old, I knew exactly what those words were. I was afraid of the house. I hoped the key might unlock the front door. It didn't. Looking in, I felt like the house itself had been waiting for me.
Wie kann man denn sprinten hier? Dreieck ist... Seit wann ist denn Dreieck? Kann ja gar nicht sprinten. Oder halt so halt.
Crawling through the doggy door used to be a lot easier when I was 11. The power had been turned off the night we left. For the first time in years, I felt like I was home. But instead of a family, there were just memories of one. Like how after Lewis started working at the cannery, we all got sick of eating salmon. Except our cat, Molly. The table was still a wreck from the night we left. It was like a bomb had gone off, killing everyone but sparing the furniture. My mom was the only one of us who could imagine Great-Grandma Edie living in a nursing home. Nothing in the house looked abnormal. There was just too much of it, like a smile with too many teeth. Great-Grandpa Sven built a music box for Barbara, along with the rest of the house. My mom wasn't much of an optimist, but she never stopped believing that my brother Milton was alive.
So, jetzt gehen wir mal nach unten.
Mom always told me to stay out of the basement, so I wasn't too surprised when the key didn't fit. After Milton disappeared, Mom sealed up all the bedrooms. Then Edie retaliated and drilled peepholes. As a kid, I just assumed every house had peepholes and sealed rooms you weren't allowed inside of. My Grandpa Sam spent 7 years sharing a room with his dead brother, Calvin. The last time I was in Edith Sr.'s room, I was 10 and she was painting my portrait. Whenever people ask me about my family, the first thing they always want to know about is Barbara.
Okay, hier geht's höher.
Barbara was a child star for 2 years, until America grew out of it. Edie's father, Odin, built the original house.
Da gehen wir gleich noch hin. Ich muss ja mal hier unten reingucken. Digga, wie langsam mal so die Treppe runter.
A lot of things got left behind in the whirlwind of that last night. Edie told me once that every Finch who ever lived is buried somewhere in the library.
Jetzt lauf schneller.
Molly always seemed like a girl I could imagine being friends with, if she hadn't died in 1947. I spent a lot of time playing in Great Uncle Walter's room. Louis told me there were secret passages, but I never believed him. Turns out, my mom was really good at keeping secrets. Now it was time to find out what my mom had been afraid of. Reading this, maybe it sounds like I had a plan. But I had no idea what was behind that door. Just like I had no idea where all this was gonna lead.
December 13th, 1947. Dear Diary, I'll be gone soon, but I wanted to tell somebody about what's gonna happen. It started when Mom sent me to bed without dinner. I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat. The gerbil food was dry, but I didn't mind it. Mom, can I come out now?
Sweetheart, it's late. Go to sleep.
Lecker Fisch.
I thought about eating Christopher, but I held back. I kept eating and eating. I ate a lot of things that night. Then I heard chirping outside my window. It was a barn swallow going back to her nest. I reached out for her. And suddenly, I was a cat.
Lol.
I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared. I jumped and I almost got her. I could tell she was getting really tired. Now I was up in the big tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore. All I cared about was eating that mama bird. I gobbled her up. And suddenly, I was an owl. First, all I heard was the wind. Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the grass. Rabbits. rolled him up, and I didn't chew one bit. Then I flew off to find something bigger. A mama rabbit. She was almost too big to carry. I started choking, but I couldn't stop eating. And suddenly, I was a shark.
What the fuck?
I rolled off a cliff and into the ocean. Now, I was hungrier than ever.
Ja, alles. Ist ein bisschen komisch. Irgendwo hier war doch gerade ein Fisch.
Juicy seals.
Ja, wo soll das sein? Ich komme nicht mal nach unten. Ach. Lol.
I tore off her flipper and it tasted really good.
Da bin ich wieder da und
I grabbed on tight. When I was so hungry, I jumped out of the water. When I opened my eyes, everything had changed.
jetzt bin ich eine Schlange.
Now I was a monster, and I smelled people everywhere.
Ja, ein Seemonster.
I was big, but I moved real quiet.
Ja, moin. Einfach mal so einen fetten Menschen mitgenommen.
I wanted to stop, but also I didn't. Passenger so hungry. And across the water, I smelled something new. Something I had to have, so I swam towards it. I slithered onto the sand, and the good smell went into an old pipe.
Wartet mal kurz. Warte mal kurz. Ich muss gucken. Ja. So ist besser. Oh nein.
I got closer and closer.
Lol, hat sie sich selber gegessen?
All of my stomach started growling.
Nein.
And suddenly, I was me again. I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. I think it's waiting for me to fall asleep. But it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to be, and we both know I will be delicious.
I'm not sure if I believed all of that, but I'm sure Edie would have.
Sie hat sich selbst aufgegessen. Das sehen wir doch da ganz unten. Das machen wir doch, oder gleich? Da ist eine Katze. Ihr seht das?
This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories. Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly. I spent a lot of time in Great-Grandma Edie's room. Louis died a week before we left, but Edie had already started to memorialize him. Her room was like a museum. For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune. Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family. But 40-foot waves, Odin's daughter Edie, Odin Finch is the first. His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house.
So ist besser. So, jetzt wieder zurück. Super. Die
Whatever's wrong with
haben
this family,
abgehakt.
it goes back a long ways.
Also ihn haben wir abgehakt.
When Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have,
Unförmige
but she
Rutsche.
didn't. Even in her 90s, sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother.
Was für eine geile Dusche. Richtig geiler Boden. Aber ein Champagner. Nebenklo. Der Champagner Nebenklo.
The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife Kay left on the house was the pink bathroom.
Ja, ich wusste es.
It was a pretty big trace.
Oh. Traumbad.
There's a secret in this bathroom. It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book.
Alter. Das wäre ein geiles Haus. Das will ich auch haben. Mit 500
Sven gave Sam an
verschiedenen
old camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down.
Räumen. Okay. Ah. So, darf ich mich jetzt bitte...
From the paintings on the wall, it was clear my brother Milton had been here before me.
Let's see me roll. Abgesperrt.
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin. And that he never talked about him. I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it.
Lol, das muss ich sagen, Alter. Die Schaukel ist ein bisschen schräg.
My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom. And he did. At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again. And he wasn't.
Das muss ich machen, Alter.
I think Calvin always wanted to fly.
Und jetzt einfach über den Zaun rüber. Komm, wir schaffen das.
But that day,
Über den
he
Zaun.
finally made up his mind to do it.
Wir schaffen das.
I told him going around was impossible.
Los, über den Zaun rüber.
Maybe if I hadn't said that,
I'm not gonna tell you again.
maybe if the wind
Yeah.
hadn't picked up,
Okay.
then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it.
Nein. Wir müssen jetzt langsam abbremsen hier. Oder müssen wir jetzt... Was müssen wir jetzt machen? Komm, wir schaukeln so hoch wie es geht. Na, ich probier's. Ich glaube, dann reißt die Schaukel ab und der fliegt einfach hier runter die Klippe. Ja. Oder knallt mit dem Hinterkopf gegen das Haus.
I think he'd already made up his mind.
Jetzt. Geht's weiter hier.
That's what I want to remember about my brother.
Alter, wir warten. Alter. Wir haben ein Looping geschafft.
The day he made up his mind to fly. And he did.
Lol.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
Lol. Alter, meine Augen
After
tun
the
jetzt weh.
funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room.
Gibt's auch noch eine Treppe nach oben. Aufs Bett.
Mom
oder
said
drauf
Grandpa
gehen.
Sam enlisted at 18 and never set foot in the room again.
Lol. Wie fucking kreativ waren die bitte? Moin an die neuen Zuschauer.
The passages were a pretty tight fit. They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies. Growing up, I always thought of Barbara as a child star. I never thought about how hard it must have been for her afterwards. Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
Old Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch. As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream. Now at 16, she was all washed up. A has-been. But in a lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was cancelled.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding until finally the key pops out.
Thanks, baby. I'll be back in a sec.
20 minutes later, Rick hadn't returned. So Barbara went to look for him, right on cue.
Nein, sag nicht, wir müssen...
She reached for the music box. And as she wound the key, she listened for Rick, but the house was silent.
Nein. Oh, Michael Myers.
She found Rick's crutch and imagined the worst.
Jetzt geht's aufs Maul. Macht die Tür auf. Spinnt wo.
The gang's leader is the infamous Hookman killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
Finch rattled and grew still.
Mach auf die Tür. Bam. Voll ins Gesicht. Alter.
Barb, relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and you're...
She threw him out, but she kept a little something to remember him by.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show. Hours later...
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there? Ah! Okay, I'm coming up. But if this
So
is a
richtig
trick,
gechillt.
you're dead, Walter.
Jetzt geht's los. Kampfmusik. Wo ist denn Walter? Hier ist Walter.
Walter, are you there?
Walter had vanished, but his bedside radio was still on.
Orcas Island police describe the man as 6 feet tall, with a steel hook for a hand. Residents are urged to lock all doors and windows and notify the police of any suspicious activity.
Barbara turned, saw the hook man, and was speechless. He was quite smashing.
Hört ihn. Ja, gut gemacht.
He couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Okay, Barbara. There's got to be another way out of here.
Ja, hier lang. Das, rein da.
That night, she played her part beautifully.
Oh, von hinten kommen.
Molly's door hadn't been opened in years. The hinges groaned.
Und jetzt ging er hin und bam. Ausgerutscht, Treppengeländer runter.
He wasn't moving,
Tot.
but she sensed the story might not be over yet.
Runter. Ja, wir gucken jetzt nochmal nach, ob er wirklich tot ist. Ja, ich wusste es.
Had vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was
Ja, jetzt geht's aus dem Maul. Bam.
at the door. She heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
Hinter dir. Die haben dich. Überraschung. Und jetzt? Wow.
The monsters had come to surprise her. For Barbara, it was a dream come true. Then she saw what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen. She was going to be famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life. I wasn't there myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent.
Wo ist er denn gewesen?
She had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared the same night. And little Walter, hiding under his bed the whole time. He took it all pretty hard, but that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box is all they ever found of her. Her ear. Now that's what I call a real eerie tale.
Wow. Versteht ihr? Sie hat ihr Ohr hingelegt. Ihr Ohr lag da.
Edie
Das
told me
lange
how
im
Barbara
Ohr
wanted
bleibt.
this to be remembered, as absurd as that comic was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending.
Hier ist jetzt nichts mehr. Na gut. Können wir gehen hier raus. Wieder hier durch. Aber cooles Versteck.
I guess now I know why Mom didn't like me playing with the music box.
Jetzt hier lang. Und jetzt würde ich sagen, gehen wir nach oben.
Mom must have locked the third floor stairs on the night we left.
Mom muss... Ah, okay, dann gehen wir nach unten in den Keller, würde ich sagen, oder? Schreibt mir mal kurz rein, ob ich in den Keller gehen soll. Wollen wir in den Keller gehen? Ja oder nein? Wollen wir in den Keller gehen? Dreh weiter. Da haben wir den Schlüssel schon mal. Sollen wir runter oder sollen wir nicht runter? Mach. Lauf doch mal schneller die Treppen runter. Alter. Ja, ich mach. Okay, sieht eigentlich ganz normal aus.
Mom said
Sven.
the basement was off limits, unless I wanted another tetanus shot.
Sie wollte uns eigentlich hier abhalten.
I saw Edie sneak down to the basement once, carrying packages.
I thought
Komm, wir
maybe
gucken.
she was hiding presents.
Und auf.
It turned out she was hiding a lot more than that. I remember asking Mom once about where Walter had
Alter,
gone.
das Spiel ist richtig krass. Mal kurz hier meine Hände. Bisschen ausschütteln. Aber Alter. Mein Baby kurz. Naja, ist okay so. Los geht's.
She said after Barbara died, he got as far away as he could.
So weit wie möglich weg vom Allen.
If there's a pattern in all these stories,
Okay. Also hat sich hier
I
ein
think it's
Bunker
that none of us has
aufgebaut.
gotten very far.
Okay, Walter. Jetzt kommen wir zu Walter. Okay.
Goodbye, everyone. I can't believe I've been down here for 30 years. On that first day, after the shaking started, I didn't think I'd survive a week. But after a few days, I settled into a routine. That's what kept me sane. Having a schedule, living for today.
Lecker, was ist das?
I always
lecker.
expected to be dead tomorrow.
Oh, ist der
But if you wait long enough, you get used to anything. Even a monster
echt wieder das
on the other
Gleiche.
side of the door starts to feel normal. Almost friendly.
Lecker, jeden Tag Pfirsiche.
And then one day, everything just stopped.
2005.
Whatever that thing was, it was gone. Maybe it got tired of waiting. Or maybe I just got tired of being afraid. It's been a week now, the longest in 30 years.
Und jetzt hab ich kein Essen mehr.
I'm done waiting. I have to leave while I still can.
Oh, jetzt geht's. Runter.
know it's out there, somewhere.
Was ist hier irgendwo draußen noch?
Whatever killed Barbara.
Was immer Barbara getötet hat.
And Molly.
Und Molly. Mhm.
And Calvin.
Calvin Klein. Wir sind da erstmal.
Maybe this is all a mistake. But I need to stop living the same day. Even if it kills me. Whatever's out there,
Alter,
I want you to know I'm ready
ich
for
laufe
it.
hier langsam wie.
I'm going to appreciate all of it, especially the food.
Jetzt kommt gleich das Zug.
I don't mind if I only have a year left.
Sehe ich jetzt, bin ich jetzt ein Mann?
Or a month. Or a single week.
Oder eine einzige Woche.
I'd be happy with one new day. I can already imagine the sun on my face.
Zug. Aua. Ohrenkrebs.
Walter died when I was 6. I can't believe my mom never told me he was down here.
Okay. Walter.
I'm sure my mom was trying to protect
dir.
me.
Wir gucken jetzt erstmal kurz hier raus. Schicke Blumen hast du. Okay, wir gehen mal unten. Mach's hoch. So, und jetzt einmal bitte nach unten. Willst du nicht nach da unten gehen? Na gut, dann halt. Nicht. Hä? Ah, okay.
Maybe she was afraid I'd end up like Walter.
Das ist immer noch da.
But if she never told me about an uncle under the house, I can only imagine what else she was hiding. I don't want to make the same mistakes she made. Trying to bury something that's still alive. Now that there's only one of us left, or maybe two, I thought it was time I heard the stories for myself and found out what happened to everyone else. But now I'm worried the stories themselves might be the problem. Maybe we believed so much in a family curse, we made it real.
Tja. Walter. Ciao, ciao. Vor allem hier war mal
I don't know if I should even be writing this.
der komplette Internet. Okay.
Maybe it'd be better if all this just died with me.
Nein, nicht sterben.
But I thought you should know about your family.
Aber ich dachte über die Familie. Oh.
And the history you're a part of. Though to be honest, I feel as lost as you probably do right now. I think the people in these stories believed them, for what that's worth.
when you look at the house, that history of imagination and stubbornness and madness, any of it seems possible.
Sind wir jetzt im Hinterhaus?
I think we've been surrounded by death for so long, we've just gotten used to it. What kind of family finishes building a cemetery before starting the house?
Ja, die haben es gesehen, dass ich Spiel spiele. USK ab 18. Nein.
It's embarrassing for me to admit this, but
Es ist... Ey, ich konnte nicht mal
The
lesen.
pet cemetery made me more uncomfortable than the human one.
Alter, das... Ein Tierfriedhof. Shadow. Fisch. Hund. Hase. Katze. Schatzi.
3 of the gerbils were mine, and 2 had been my fault.
Rennmäuse. Also wieder ein Hund. Daisy, eine Katze. Tucker, Coco, Zoe. Und dann noch viele, viele mehr. Und Bailey.
Sven built the house, but it was Edie who designed the cemetery.
I'm sure Odin's monument had been Edie's idea. My mom was always trying to move on, but for Edie, the past never went away. She could see it poking out of the water at low tide. Edie said she dreamed about the old house every night.
Ne, jetzt nicht mehr weiter.
Edie's side was always easier for me to understand. But the older I get, the more I can see where my mom was coming from. Her dad had been pretty strict, but it wasn't enough to save her brothers. She was just trying to do better.
Okay. Milton.
She lost 2 of her brothers, just like I did. I get why she tried so hard to protect us.
Okay.
There's so many things I wish I could ask my mom now. Part of me thinks this is what she wanted all along. For me to come back someday and find everything out for myself.
Ja, dann. Let's go nach oben.
But looking back on it now, if she told me there was going to be so much climbing,
I never would have come when I was 22 weeks pregnant.
Wir gehen mal nicht über das Glas. Oder sollten wir vielleicht über das Glas? Nee. Da hoch komme ich noch nicht. Kein Kreis. Kommen wir hier rein? Ja, aber... Ach, wow.
I never met Grandpa Sam, but I think he and my mom had a lot in common. They were both pretty intense.
Oh, jetzt gibt's wieder eine Geschichte.
Dawn, I promise, you'll never forget this weekend.
Yes, sir.
Boah.
These memories are gonna last a lifetime.
Am I gonna have to shoot anything?
It's a hunting trip, Dawn. Shooting is strongly encouraged.
Shouldn't we be leaving?
Just want to get a shot of you, Dawn, then we can take off.
What?
Perfect.
It's gonna rain the whole weekend, isn't it? Please just take the damn picture.
Hey, language.
Hä, was soll ich machen? Wie es regnet.
Did you want to get a picture of me or what?
Ja, was will die von mir?
I will never forget this weekend, Dad.
That's the spirit. Okay, got it.
I'm gonna take some pictures, okay?
Just be careful. That camera's older than you are. Definitely should not have drunk all that coffee. Nothing quite like being outside. Hey!
That's a keeper.
Lol.
I'm just saying, I'm not always gonna be here, Dawn. You'll need to remember this stuff, if you want to survive.
I'll be fine, Dad.
You know who else thought he was gonna be fine?
Some guy who died.
Dawn, I'm being serious.
I know, Dad. You're always serious. Doesn't being out here make you want to chill out?
Well, to tell you the truth, I haven't been out here in 20 years. Dawn, don't you think you could find something more interesting to photograph? Last time I was with my brother Calvin. Man, that was a great trip. Your grandpa Sven taught us how to fish, how to build a fire.
Yeah.
We found an old logging trail. There were deer everywhere.
Dad!
Good eyes, Dawn.
Boah. Nehm ich mit. Ich bin jetzt gerade ein bisschen überfordert. Von was soll ich jetzt eigentlich so ein Bild machen? Oh. Jetzt einfach von allem ein Foto. Weißt du vielleicht schon, was ich ein Foto machen soll? Rechts oben auf dem Berg. Rechts oben. Wow, Alter.
Before you take the shot, let me get a picture of you.
Hä, wo ist sie? Wo ist sie hin?
Dad, I...
Nice.
Let me get behind you.
Do I have to do this?
Dawn, you don't have to do anything. But if you want to survive, you'll need to be strong.
Schieß.
Great shot, Dawn!
Dankeschön für den Tipp. Erstmal Selfie machen.
I'm proud of you, Dawn. Always remember that, okay?
Hallo, jetzt bin ich der Typ.
Dad, it's twitching. I think
That's
it's
totally normal, Dawn. Just focus on the camera. Try not to think about...
Dad!
Oh, oh. RIP. Das war es aber mal.
Of all these
Komplett.
stories, that's the one I wish most that my mom had told me.
Alter, es fehlen noch so viele. Jetzt gehen wir mal hier.
Instead of hiding from death, Sam seemed to go out of his way to meet it.
Hallo? Ja, geh weg. Ich will jetzt hier weiter. Da gibt es irgendwie einen Geheimgang. Hier ist nichts. Hier ist auch nicht. Da gehen wir wieder raus. Edith Finch. Ach, okay.
After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot.
Gregory. Gregory, wer bist du?
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it.
Quack, quack.
I think he saw things the rest of us don't.
Leute, die Ente folgt mir. Schenkst dir. Viel Spaß damit. Der ist ja geil.
Watching over Gregory, it's time to... Hold on,
Sicher.
sweetie.
Frosch weiter spielen.
Hello? Sam, I told you I don't want to talk right now.
I wonder what he saw. What his world was like.
Was für ein Gott. Miau. Los, und jetzt alle runter und hoch. Und mitkommen.
He reminded me so much of Calvin. Lost in his imagination. Whatever it was, he saw.
Komm mal raus. Geh mit. Achso, ich soll jetzt bestimmt irgendwo landen. Komm einfach. Oh, jetzt leg ich da oben fest.
It sure made him happy.
Ja. Okay, den Wagen. Yay. Was? Ah, okay, der Hochmusik. Oh, wait a minute.
I know how silly it sounds. But I worried about a baby being too happy.
Schieb es rum.
But I can feel him slipping away.
Sorry about that, Gregory.
I know you did everything you could.
So dumm.
Maybe if I hadn't called that night.
Was soll das?
Damn it.
I wish you could have told us.
I don't want that.
About the world we saw.
Is it
There's so much I don't understand. About Gregory. About everything. But I know what happened wasn't your fault. I'm sure it's happened. I keep wanting you to be happy too. Good luck, Kay. Love, Sam.
Da fehlen aber jetzt noch viele.
I can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and yet...
A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard.
Irgendjemand da im Kopf liegen. Nee, das Buchstaben nicht.
My father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart.
Ja, auch alle umdrehen.
I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her, we don't need a stepmom, were the words that I
now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
Wo jetzt hin?
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined, and as a sign held up his middle finger.
Oh yeah, das muss ich. Gangster. Richtig schön den Mittelfinger reingedrückt.
The wind picked up, and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent. The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made. The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said to this was, "Make the music louder." wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea, and foam.
Boom.
But I didn't. Until we found you.
Voll gegen ihn selber, gegen den Kopf geknallt bestimmt.
She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they
Da
were
unten
going to
fehlt
name
noch
me Gus.
Eddie, Dawn, Milden und Louis. Die drei fehlen.
My mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died.
At the time, it was as far away as she could get.
Jetzt sind wir bei Dawn.
She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay.
Hm.
Religion was another thing my mom never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot after her dad died.
Können wir da noch hören? Nee. Man kommt nur hier wieder runter. Wieder zurück. Sicher, dass wir nicht hier nach Hause können? Du geklebt. Ich glaube, wir können nicht zurück muss. Gibt's da bestimmt auch Spiele. So ein Geheimweg. Oder? Gibt es hier noch einen geheimen Weg? Oder muss ich jetzt zum ersten Mal im ganzen Spiel wieder zurück? Gab es auf der linken Seite noch was? Mhm. Muss ich wieder zurück? Schreib mal bitte. Ich wieder zurück muss. Ich glaube, ja. Wieder hoch. Wieder nach oben, aber da war ich ja gerade. Denkst du, da gibt's noch was? Was war denn das gerade hier? Warum wird das jetzt ab hier wieder gespeichert? Hallo? Wollen Sie mir vielleicht irgendwas sagen? So. Ach so, Aha, okay.
My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Louis was born a year later.
Alter, wie knackt das hier oben ist, Alter, wie knackt.
When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go.
Dawn.
I'm sure Edie was happy to have her
Louis
back.
und Milton.
The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that. And for a while, things were good. Almost normal. But it didn't last. The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle. After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
Da kommen wir doch auch safe rein hier. Ah, ja. Okay. Hier gibt's was. Ah.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
Ja, mach auf.
I was 4 when Milton disappeared.
So, ich denke jetzt wieder runter, oder? Ja.
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors.
Hier noch irgendwas? Tür zugemacht und jetzt gehen wir wieder raus.
Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
Gibt's hier irgendwie noch einen? Wow, nein, gibt's nicht. Aber jetzt gehen wir safe hier hoch. Da oben ist dann das Ende. Denke ich.
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Louis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery.
Wir gehen erstmal hier lang. Und nach oben müssen wir ja dann, denke ich, erst später. Und hops, rein da. Shisha.
Louis's room smelled very, very familiar.
Lass ziehen, komm, lass uns
That part of him lived on. Louis and I spent a lot of time playing games together, but he was surprisingly bad at them. He died a lot.
Oh. Komm, wir zocken eine Runde.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Louis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Louis first noticed the monotony of his daily life.
Oh.
He kept working at the cannery. but he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to wander.
Ah.
I asked him to describe it.
Alter, jetzt
He
spiele
said
ich
he started
das und macht die Fische gleichzeitig, Alter.
imagining a labyrinth.
Oh, wow. Alter, wie schwierig das ist.
He'd feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats.
Einfach nur der Schrift folgen.
And toads. And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more. I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused.
Alter, das müsst ihr euch so schwer vorstellen.
Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend. On the edge of a city he named Lewis-topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination. So he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him. He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality.
Ich bin halt so abgelenkt mit der linken Seite.
Minneapolis. Until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Lewis kept sailing on.
Wer bist du denn?
In Lewisburg, he heard rumors of a Handsome Queen.
War es jetzt richtig, oder?
The Queen was on her own quest for radiant rainbows.
Ja, dass man nicht so groß ist.
He followed the sound of her silver harp. His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound. He knew the world was all in his imagination.
Alter.
But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king. For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him. He began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker. He began to despise the man with a royal contempt.
Das haben wir immer gebracht.
I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions. Including the wise Calico who insisted on advising him. His queen waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do. Bend down his head.
Ah, lol. Jetzt Kopf abgehakt.
And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
Weil er so die Fische gejagt hat, hat er seinen Kopf da reingetan. Alter. Er hat seinen Kopf anstatt den Fisch da reingetan. Oh, wie kann man denn so
My brother
sein?
was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
2 Leute noch.
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left. My mom ended up leaving everything behind.
Okay, hör.
What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner. But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night. That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
The power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning, okay?
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around. seeing things. Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go!
I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great-Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the band came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it. But she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you.
Von mir? Cool.
I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you. And tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
Dieses Spiel war echt gar nicht so schlecht. Machen wir was anderes. Nein, ich habe nicht gedacht, dass es ein 2-Stunden-Ende ist. Okay. Dann war's das.